Welcome to If Numbers Can Talk. I'll be your host, Keilyn. If Numbers Can Talk is a part of the Thinkering group over at thinkering.space. Please visit us. Over at thinkering.space, you will find the Thinkering Talks podcast, the Exofathom podcast, and of course, If Numbers Can Talk, along with the Plank Talks with Joe. We ask that you visit our website, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Spotify, iTunes. You can also find us on Facebook and IG. All podcasts are on all platforms. Please take the time to also go through our website. Give us some feedback on how it makes you feel, what you do and don't like about it. While you're there, check out our merchandise. We just released some new shirts. We're very, very happy to put them out. And we're also interested in what type of merch you guys will be interested in from us. If Numbers Can Talk is a part of the Thinkering group, as I said. And the Thinkering group, what we do is we want to do our best to give as much content to the public as possible. Whatever type of content that's art-based, numbers-based for myself. We're very interested in all things that can be discussed. Here at If Numbers Can Talk, we'll be solely focused on the numbers. We will do our best if not just do our best, we will do the best not to bring our emotions into play while discussing some things that a lot of people over time don't really have the patience to discuss without getting upset with one another, without raising voice, and ultimately some people start fights over these things, right? But here at If Numbers Can Talk, our thing is the numbers, the facts, what's out there, what has been accomplished, whether it be from your favorite athlete, whether it's from your favorite actor, your favorite musician. We'll be doing our best to jump in a few different types of numbers from different arenas. Today's episode is titled When X Plays Like O. Now, I don't usually go over the title. I don't usually even go that deep into that. However, for me, the title today holds multiple definitions. It's not just being a defender playing on the offensive side, but also being the first, being someone that others look to, being someone that others are compared to, being someone that others strive to be like. Today is going to be delving into football, American football, with the pigskin, right? We're going to be talking about defensive tackles, and we're going to be talking about the number 6 Hall of Fame. The number 6th ranked defensive tackle of all time, who is a current Hall of Famer, and the number 10 defensive tackle listed currently of all time, who is listed to become a Hall of Famer immediately, pretty much, right? The two gentlemen I'm talking about are Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald. Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald are two defensive tackles. They both are athletes from the National Football League. Just to read off their scale stats really quick, show you the comparison of the two. Warren Sapp was listed at 6'2", 303 pounds. Aaron Donald is listed at 6'1", 280 pounds. Now, if you know much about football, there are a bunch of 6'8" and 6'9" and 6'7" and 6'10" guys that are on the opposite end of these 6'1" and 6'2" gentlemen. So keep that in mind as we keep going forward. There are some 300 and 400 pound gentlemen that these guys had to compete against. And when I say every person on the opposite end of these guys, if they were not world class In other words, if they did not earn their job, these weren't guys who simply made the team and they just were there. These guys had to be impactful. These guys had to be good at what they did. If not, well, I'll let the numbers talk about that. Aaron Donald was drafted into the NFL in 2014. He is currently still playing. We're going to say he has played a total of 5 years to date. Warren Sapp was drafted in 1995 and retired in 2007, was drafted to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and retired from the Oakland Raiders. 2 years on the Raiders, 10 years in Tampa Bay. I believe I'm quoting that correctly. Aaron Donald has played his entire career with the St. Louis Rams, or excuse me, the Los Angeles Rams. Sorry. Don't crucify me. I apologize. I'm sorry. I know I got some Ram fans out there, and thank you for watching. I apologize. So what we're going to do, sometimes a lot of guys don't get their accolades noticed. A lot of guys, it's not until they're done, it's over. Somebody who watched that one particular team says, hey, you didn't watch this. Did you ever see this guy? And then you go look and you're like, whoa, never seen those stats before. I can do this in football, but in basketball, I know I have a list of guys that it was just like, whoa, where'd he come from? Who knew about him? I just showed a friend of mine a guy yesterday or 2 days ago that no one in the group, it was 4 people in the room. None of us had ever heard of the guy, but his numbers were pretty crazy. And on the video game, clearly, those guys did their research because he's unstoppable almost on there. And he's not some guy that everyone talks about regularly, but that's basketball. We're talking about football right now, right? So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin with reading the awards in short for these gentlemen. Aaron Donald has 10 season awards in total, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5 first-team All-Pro nominations, 6 Players of the Week awards, 2 Player of the Month awards. He has 2 seasons where he was in the top 10 of players. If a guy were retired and had those numbers, we say he's Hall of Fame already, right? Just point blank period. There's nothing much more to say about that. And to compare, that's Aaron Donald with 5 years under his belt. We're again comparing him to Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp after 12 years. Warren Sapp had 5 yearly awards, 5 awards of a year. So he received 5 awards saying he was the best person or one of the top 100 players of that year. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro nominator. 4-time first-team All-Pro player. He has 3 Player of the Weeks and 2 Player of the Months. Throughout his career, he has 2 top 10 seasons. With these gentlemen, I start there because, again, sometimes your accolades are not noticed. The second group of stats I read was from a 12-year player. The first group of stats I read was from a 5-year player, 6 if we want to be, just be generous and try to even the playing field, right? Let's call it 6 because we're already in 2020, right? Man, listen. The second batch of numbers, as far as just awards, remember, I'm just talking about awards. I haven't even gotten to stats, haven't gotten to those numbers, right? That second group of numbers is the number 6 defensive tackle of all time. The first group is the number 10. Can we say that it is going to be an interesting back end of a career for this gentleman? This gentleman Aaron Donald's going to be something to watch, right? But right now, we're not talking about what he's going to be to watch. We're talking about what he has accomplished. What do the numbers tell us when we compare him to Warren Sapp, a guy who, hands down, I don't know one person who would say that Warren Sapp was not that man. Not a great player. No, he was that man. And if your quarterback wasn't afraid of Warren Sapp when he was on the other end, your quarterback wasn't alive. He already died inside knowing he was playing that man that week. Oh, no, that's not an emotion. That's not an emotion. The number somewhere, probably the numbers I have right here, going to help me prove that. Now, we're going to go to the per game averages for these two gentlemen. Per game average. For every single game they played, you add them all up, you divide them by the total, and this is what we came out with. Tackles. Warren Sapp had averaged 2.2 solo tackles in every game. Aaron Donald averaged 2.3 solo tackles in every game. Warren Sapp averaged 0.7 assisted tackles per game for his career. Aaron Donald averaged one whole assisted tackle for every single game he played in, which means these gentlemen, every game they were putting a blast onto, and I said it, a blast. They weren't just wrapping guys up. No, these guys were getting hit. These two gentlemen hit at least two guys and helped at least one other person take down another guy through the game, right? Warren Sapp averaged 0.5 sacks. Aaron Donald averaged 0.8 sacks. Warren Sapp averaged 0.1 forced fumbles. Aaron Donald averages 0.2 forced fumbles for every game. Don't get hit by these guys, man. Not only are they going to hit you, but you run the risk of dropping the ball. You run the risk of not just losing the ball, but maybe losing a little bit of respect from your coaching staff, right? Oh, that's just forced fumbles. Did I mention fumble recoveries? Warren Sapp averaged 0.1 fumble recovery for every game, as did Aaron Donald, 0.1 fumble recoveries for every game. Now, something that was very interesting to me, that was interesting, right? I like that. You like that? Something that was very interesting for me was for these to be two gentlemen that hit and they make you drop the ball, it's their yards, the amount of yards. Like there's a stat that tells you how many yards they accumulate after not only do they knock the ball out of your hand, they pick it up and keep going. It's theirs now, right? Warren Sapp averaged 0.1 yards as a defensive tackle, recovering the fumble. 0.1 yards per fumble. Aaron Donald, 0.4 yards per fumble. 0.4 yards per fumble. If he picks up the ball, he is going somewhere. Now, I know that those numbers sound astronomically low, but we're talking about defenders. We're talking about a guy who's 6'1", 303, and another guy who's 6'1", 280, and another guy who's 6'2", 303. 0.1 yards, 0.4 yards for every fumble that they recover. Now, when it comes to interceptions, these two men differ quite a bit. Aaron Donald has no interceptions throughout his career as of yet. To date, Aaron Donald has no interceptions in his career. In 94 games played and 90 games started, Aaron Donald has no interceptions to date. Warren Sapp, however, in 198 games played, 188 games started, Warren Sapp has, as a defensive tackle, one of the larger guys on the field, weight-wise, expected to be one of the slower guys on the field. He was not that. 4 interceptions for a career. He averaged 8 yards. Nah, I'm joking. He had a total of 8 yards. But honestly, he averaged 8 yards for every interception. Warren Sapp was an incredible player to watch, man. But not only did he have those 8 yards for every interception, Warren Sapp had a touchdown. So he only picked the ball off 4 times in his entire career. But of those 4 times he took the ball, one of those times he got back to the end zone. He got his team 6 points. Now, when he got his team 6 points, do you think he turned around and said, hey, coach, I need a break? Pretty sure he was out there. It might have been on special teams. He was just feeling it, right? Hey, can I fill in for one of the rooks? Let him get a break. You know, I throw him down some, pass him down some. He'd be all right, right? He seems like that type of guy to me, the type of guy who I'm feeling it, coach, leave me in. Those are my emotions. But these numbers are proving a lot of what I believe. These numbers, career stats, these numbers, the career stats, the total numbers that we're about to go over, the total numbers for the career of Warren Sapp, the total numbers for the career of Aaron Donald. I'm excited. I was excited when I did this research, and I am still excited talking about this. Is exciting because these numbers, they were talking to me so much. It wasn't just the heat. I started sweating a little bit. I was like, ooh, numbers, these, this is a deep conversation. This discussion we getting into here is getting kind of crazy. It's getting intense. Numbers. You know what number said to me? Number said, take notes. I got you covered. Me and those numbers. We have some deep discussions, guys. Warren Sapp, throughout his entire career, 198 games total, had 21 deflections, 19 forced fumbles, 12 fumble recoveries, 23 fumble yards, 96.5 sacks in his career. 96.5 sacks. 96 times, and half a time a quarterback was hit by that guy throughout his career. Aaron Donald had 11 deflections throughout his 94 games. 15 forced fumbles. In 94 games, 15 forced fumbles. In 94 games, 15 forced fumbles. You better protect the ball. This man is chopping at him, right? 15 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, 40 fumble yards. Oh, wait. All of those fumble yards came in one season, 2019. 40 fumble yards in one season for Aaron Donald, which was last season, 2019. I think he's getting better. 40 fumble yards in one season? I think he's starting to practice with the fullbacks or something, guys. So, throughout his career to date, Aaron Donald in 94 games has 72 sacks. 20.5 sacks came in 2018 alone. In 2018 alone, 20.5 sacks. Can you guys see why I got excited? 72 sacks in 5 years. 20.5 in one season. I think X is playing like O. Do you know who O is? Do you know who X is? Think about it. Now, before we move further, we talked about interceptions and we talked about deflections. These are things where the ball is in the air, right? But there's another stat that Warren Sapp has that Aaron Donald does not yet. To date, Aaron Donald yet to have any targeted passes targeted for him. Aaron Donald has yet to receive any catches or any passes from the offensive player, which would be the quarterback. He has not played the offensive side of the ball, to my knowledge, unless maybe he played as an offensive lineman, but as someone who is eligible for receptions, he has not. Warren Sapp, however, Warren Sapp has receptions. Warren Sapp has been targeted 5 times in his career. And of those 5 times, he has caught 4 of those passes. So 4 of 5 times, Warren Sapp has caught the ball for a total of 39 yards. The longest reception of Warren Sapp's career was 8 yards. 18 yards for Warren Sapp. That was his longest reception. He has 2 receiving touchdowns. He has 2 receiving touchdowns. I just don't think people understand. There's certain guys who they entertained you, and then there's certain guys that they just had jobs. These guys are entertaining. I pay to go watch these guys. Tell me one of these guys are on the field, I'm going to watch. In football, you know, you're only watching so many snaps. A guy's only out there so many times. You got to see your guy out there. He might not even make a big play. But with these 2 gentlemen, oh, you're guaranteed to see maybe 1 big play for sure, but maybe 2 or 3. This is called impact. This is impact. These numbers speak to me and they tell me impact is what is head. The figures, they do things that they do things that other information doesn't do for me. But these figures, these numbers, if numbers could talk, I'd be having this discussion with you. Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald are defenders. Everything I've discussed so far, their career stats, their interceptions, their receptions or lack thereof, their tackles, it was their bread and butter. That's how they made their living. Their job is to tackle. Their job is to hit you. Their job is to stop you when you have that ball. So let's get to it. For a career, total numbers, Warren Sapp averaged a combined 578 tackles. Excuse me, I said average. Warren Sapp had a combined 578 tackles, 440 solo tackles, 138 assisted tackles for Warren Sapp. 578 total tackles. That is a lot of hits. Aaron Donald has a total of 312 combined tackles. 312 combined tackles to date. Solo tackles, he has 220. Assisted tackles, he has 92 for a total, again, of 312 total tackles combined when you put the numbers together. Now, tackles for loss. This might be my favorite stat. Again, these guys' job is to hit you, is to stop you. Their job is to get behind the line of scrimmage. Their job is to jump that line. Okay. Now, it's going to get kind of interesting here. Total tackles for loss. Warren Sapp had 91 tackles for loss. So that's tackles behind the line of scrimmage that were not against the quarterback. Aaron Donald has 173 tackles. Oh, excuse me. I misspoke. He has 117 tackles for loss. Oh, right. 117 tackles for loss. Listen, if this guy puts his hand on you, you're not getting to the line of scrimmage. It's that simple. Quarterback hits. Aaron Donald has 173 quarterback hits. That's hitting the quarterback legally when the ball is being moved or released, not really considered a sack because the ball has been is no longer in the quarterback's hand and it's still in play. However, it's like the guy's a millisecond away from stopping the play every time, right? 173 quarterback hits with 1 safety in his career. That safety came in 2019 for Aaron Donald. Warren Sapp. Now, this gets interesting for me. This got really, really interesting to me. Warren Sapp has 22 quarterback hits. I don't know what else to say. Warren Sapp has 22 quarterback hits. But what did we say a minute ago? How many sacks does Warren Sapp have? So you hit the quarterback 22 times, but 96.5 times you planted them. It was a hit. It wasn't a question. It was over. Quarterback, it was done. With 22 quarterback hits, what that tells me is if he hits your quarterback, the play's done. Everybody can stop, come back to the line of scrimmage, reset, call a new play. Call a new play. Point blank period. It's over. Dead ball. So although Warren Sapp has 22 quarterback hits and no safeties for his career, I question, what is a quarterback hit? How long have we kept that stat? And with that being the thought I have right now, I'm going to stop being emotional. See, sometimes we forget, we don't realize where the emotion lies on what we're talking about. That's emotional. It's not there. We're talking about the numbers. What do the numbers say? The numbers says that man has 22 quarterback hits and 96.5 sacks. So the numbers tell me that if that man hits you and you are a quarterback, the play is dead. Aaron Donald has 173 quarterback hits with 72 sacks. That tells me that he's working on his speed. He's getting off that line. He's getting by the guys. But the quarterback still has just enough time to dump it off before he gets there, because they're still getting hit. Oh, they're getting hit. They feel his presence. However, the ball is still in play. Now, as we come to the back end of stats, as we come to the back end of total career stats, of course, we must discuss postseason, playoffs. How does this work? How does this go about? What are those numbers? When the Heat turned up just a little bit, what were those numbers? Now, Warren Sapp has only played 9 playoff games in his career. He only has 9 playoff games in his career, where Aaron Donald has currently 4 playoff games that he has played in his career. Warren Sapp had 0 quarterback hits. Again, taking me back to ask that question that was deemed emotional. But reality, it's a question. In 9 games in the playoffs, Warren Sapp had 0 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for a loss, 5.5 sacks, and forgive me, I forget. Oh, no, I don't. 2 fumble recoveries. So, tells me again, when Warren Sapp gets past your offensive line and he gets to your quarterback and your quarterback still has the ball, that play is over. Seems like in the playoffs, whether he committed the forced fumble or not, if that ball hit the ground and it was still legal, he knew and he was there to scoop it. Now, Aaron Donald in 4 games had 5 quarterback hits, 4 tackles for a loss, and 0.5 sacks. 0.5 sacks. Now, depending on who these games were against, I saw them. Depending on what the personnel looked like on the other end, if I'm a quarterback and I have Aaron Donald and or Warren Sapp on the other end, I'm running short throw plays so I can get it out of there fast. I'm running. I don't know if I'm even comfortable enough to run a pitch play, because if you can get to me that fast, you might be able to snatch that, Warren Sapp. And if you're trying to throw something too quick across the middle, specifically Warren Sapp. And so, he's not the only one. It's been done time and time again. I'm sure Aaron Donald will become a little more adept at the off the line interception, which is just a crazy play to see. But throughout the playoffs, both of these guys just show up and do their job. Whatever is needed that day. Is a sack needed? Okay, I'm gonna get back here. I'm gonna get a sack. Do we just need a hit? Do we just need to shake him up a little bit? Oh, he got it out of there in time. All right, cool. Let me get back there. I got you, coach. Don't worry about it. Let's get it done, right? Now, the playoffs is just a different beast, right? So the averages for their playoffs in 9 games, Warren Sapp averaged 0.6 sacks, 5.5 sacks, 9 games, 0.6 sacks in every game, which means there were like 2 or 3 games where he was going crazy, right? And 0.2 fumble recoveries. So as you can see, the average was pretty much balanced out for Warren Sapp. He is consistent. Nothing more to say. He was consistent in the playoffs. Now, Aaron Donald has averaged 0.1 sacks in the playoffs. He has been consistent throughout his career. He has been astronomical throughout his career. I think all it's going to take is more opportunities in the playoffs, and he's going to have similar numbers to and or maybe even surpass Warren Sapp. So I ask, and we think, what are the numbers saying about these guys' career? Well, to me, as I had this discussion with the numbers, and my interpretation of it is, this wasn't a comparison. Or this wasn't a comparison to determine who was better, I should say. This was a comparison. This wasn't a comparison to determine who was better. The numbers weren't telling me who was better this time. The numbers didn't come and say, hey, this guy, he just he blows this guy out of the water. What the numbers came to me and said today, or recently, so I can bring to you today. What the numbers said to me was, you have a guy here who had time to watch some of the gentlemen that came before him. You have a guy here who looks like ... You have a guy here who has done the work to become ... You have an X who plays like an O. You have this name, and this name plays like that name. Well, here's the thing. Players don't play like other players. Players play like themselves. Most players are adaptations of the players that came before them. The numbers told me that Aaron Donald looked at Warren Sapp, maybe Vince Wilfork and a couple of those type of guys, right? Straight hands. And he picked up something different from each of these guys. Now, don't be misunderstood. Some of these guys even played different positions. Might have been a Derrick Brooks type, right? Hybrid players. If you ask me, Aaron Donald is exactly that. He is a hybrid player. But my question comes down to, would the numbers pay to watch other guys as much as the numbers would pay to watch these guys? And do the numbers feel as if the numbers scale is high enough for what these two gentlemen put out, for what these two gentlemen accomplished, and for the comparison of the two? When you consider what Warren Sapp accomplished, and then you consider what Aaron Donald has done to date, he's still going. I'm just going to say the numbers are going to continue to rise for Aaron Donald, and the number is going to continue to shrink from 10 to 9, 8, 7, and so forth. And Lord knows how much further it will go. Maybe it'll get to 1 for Aaron Donald. Right now, he is slated to be that guy. But what the numbers say today, the numbers say when X plays like O, you just pay attention. Don't miss the show. This has been brought to you by Thinkering.Space. The Thinkering Group has a lot of different things we would like to bring to you. Please feel free to give us some feedback Check in with us on Facebook, on all the socials. Visit thinkering.space. Subscribe on YouTube. Visit thinkering.space. Subscribe on the website. Visit thinkering.space. Drop us a comment. Drop us anything that you want to say to us. Drop us anything that you have a problem with, any ideas that you have for us, or that you just feel that we poorly executed. Dive at thinkering.space is where you can send those comments and suggestions. And by all means, stay safe out there. We appreciate it.